Alright, let's do the Yakuza mainline games tier list, which works out for me because I played 0 to Like a Dragon. I didn't play the OG Yakuza 1 and 2, and I didn't play the ones that were like exclusive to Japan. I didn't play Dead Souls either, so all the games that are here are the ones that I played, so it works out. I'll keep this pretty spoiler free. Yeah, I don't think I plan on like spoiling any like key events of any of them, so you don't have to worry about that. And alright, let's get to it. So the first one here, Yakuza Kiwami, which was like the remake of the very first one, was really good. It was a lot of fun. I liked the Majima Everywhere mechanic that they included. The story was really solid overall. There's nothing like super duper wacky like you'd see in the later ones. So that was pretty cool. Like, I mean, there's always some wackiness in a Yakuza game, but like when it comes to the main story and they like include like the dumbest plot devices ever, it just kind of like ruins it a bit. But mainly you want to play Yakuza for the combat and all the mini games and shit, so you don't have to worry about it too much. And this one doesn't really like offend in any big way, because like the combat in this one is really great too. Like you have Kiryu and his 4 styles. It's on the shorter side of the Yakuza games, and like I found almost every character in the game to be pretty interesting, and there's a lot of stuff to do. So I think I'd probably give this one just a solid A. Yakuza Kiwami 2, which was the remake of Yakuza 2. This one was really, really good. Personally, I liked it a lot, and it was on the latest engine. I think it's a Dragon engine. Yeah, they put a shit ton of mini games and side quests in this one. Like the 2 big ones were the Majima Construction, like sort of like RTS type thing, and the Cabaret Club Management, which is also in 0. Those were really great. My favorite out of the 2 was the Cabaret Club, and the story in this one was pretty cool too. It kind of became like really wild and like batshit crazy towards the end, and like at the very end specifically, because like they just throw like a million fucking plot twists at you at once, which is kind of like just like what the fuck was that? And I just couldn't help but find this one though kind of endearing, because like they just when they went for it, they just fucking went for it. Like they just threw everything at once at you near the very end, so it's just kind of like, all right, whatever. I'm almost done with the game anyway. So I would put this one on the line between A and S tier. So I'll just give it a low S tier, because there's like so many things that you can do in the game, and there's both Kamurocho and Sotenbori in there too. Some of them kind of are just, you know, lower tier than others in terms of like the side stories and the mini games. Like I thought the bouncer missions were kind of a chore, but I mean that's just one thing out of a whole bunch of shit you can do. And this is where it kind of gets because like Yakuza 3 is kind of I've only played it as a remastered version when it came out for PC, so I can only speak to that one. But like the combat in this one is just fucking stupid. Like every single enemy, even like the most basic ones, they just block. They're like block cores. They're so fucking addicted to blocking. It was just insane. Like, I mean, I played pretty much all these Yakuza's on hard difficulty, and it was just like even the most random fucking encounters, like they'll just block. And the combat, even when they're not blocking, was pretty janky, and I think that's just because of its age. Because this one isn't like Kiwami or anything; it's just like the remastered of the old PS3 version. Luckily, you can improve your skills over time. Like I thought the revelation mechanic's pretty cool. A lot of the mini games are kind of too. Like I couldn't really get, even though like I like golfing mini games, I couldn't really get into the golfing mini game in this one, or the fishing one either. And I think the fishing one's kind of fucked for this version, I heard. Let's see. Story wise, it was pretty cool though. Like it was fine, and I kind of like I was cool with the slow burn that it had, because like a lot of people kind of criticized it for having a really slow start, which is true. But I kind of like, I thought the slice of life shit with the kids in the orphanage was pretty cool. I thought Okinawa was a pretty cool location. What else? I mean, Okinawa was just a cool place to fuck around in. But a lot of just the gameplay mechanics themselves are really janky, and just the combat's just fucking just dog shit in comparison to this one. Like, yeah, it just was probably the least fun combat out of all the Yakuzas, which is an important part of Yakuza. So I will probably give this one a high C tier, because like the story is cool. Like I don't mind the story except for one stupid fucking plot point that you might know what I'm talking about, but yeah, overall it's just kind of meh because the combat and a lot of the activities you do are kind of meh. I like the chasing, the fucking thing where you have to like chase people. That one is stupid too. So yeah, I'll just give that one a high C tier. And I think I have like the opposite issue with Yakuza 4 because the combat in this one is good, and there's 4 different characters to play as with their own different techniques, and they all have like their own like separate sub stories and stuff like that too, and that was really cool. It was cool to play around with each character, but this Yakuza hands down the worst fucking story. Period. Bar none. It's so fucking forced. Each character's like separate kind of like path that they take, and the way that they make them intertwine is so fucking stupid. Like it just felt like it was like they taped each like separate plot line of each character with scotch tape to have them like reunite. It was so forced and so stupid. Like the characters are cool. The characters themselves are cool. Like Saijima's hella cool. Akiyama's hella cool. Kiryu's obviously cool. Tanemura's just whatever. But whatever, yeah, just there's one specific plot device that people meme about in Yakuza 4, and it's just true. Like it's the dumbest fucking plot device I've like seen in any Yakuza game. It's almost just fucking like story ruining. Like it's so fucking stupid, and it happens in Saijima's story arc, which could give you enough clues if you've already played the game. And oh my god, it's just this. I just turned my brain off when it came to the plot. Like I just played it for the gameplay at that point. It's so fucking stupid. The whole plot of Yakuza 4 is so fucking stupid. The plot of Yakuza 4 is an F tier, but as an actual game with the sub stories and the combat and everything else to like think about and play around with in Kamurocho. And this is another thing people criticize about, is that like it only takes place in Kamurocho, where each character has like their own things to do specifically in Kamurocho, which people didn't like because they like adding more cities. But I didn't really have a big problem with that because like there's separate things that each character does that they can only do within Kamurocho, and they kind of like added like an underground section and like a roofway section, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, the dumbest fucking story out of every Yakuza game. Yeah. But it's more about the gameplay. So I will give this a middle of the road B. I mean, you can always turn your brain off for the plot, and I think the plot can be like comedic in how bad it is. So I guess there's something redeemable about that. Yakuza 5, that one's definitely up there. The story was hella long and like super drawn out, and like a bit lower in terms of Yakuza games, but it wasn't like offensively bad. There's a lot of like stupid lulls in it, and like there are some dumb plot points, especially towards the end, where it's just like, alright, just get on with it already. But in terms of gameplay, this is definitely top notch. Like 5 separate characters to play as. You can even play as Haruka, she's from like the very first one, and she's been in like every one ever since. So like instead of fighting, she does rhythm-based games, which is cool. I like that. It's just they should have added more songs for her. But each separate character like has their own like overarching kind of like side missions to do that are specific to that character. Like for some reason I just played through the entirety of like Saijima's hunting one, even though I didn't like end up liking it too much. I just kind of felt compelled to, since I was in that area anyway. Yeah, I don't know if there's 5 separate cities for each character too, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff to do in each one, thankfully. So this is just a really top-notch Yakuza. I'd probably put this in just a solid A tier alongside Kiwami. Yakuza 6. People have been kind of like saying online that this has the worst story, and I don't really agree with that at all. It's it has its typical goofy plot points like the other ones, but like nothing that would be like super dumb like I would find in Yakuza 3 or 4. Even like the secret of Onomichi thing that people kind of joke about. It's dumb, but like it's not offensively dumb like the one big plot point from Saejima and Yakuza 4. That's just a middle of the road story to me. Nothing too exciting, but nothing like offensively bad. The problem I have with this one though is just like it feels like there's a lot less to do in this one, and it makes sense because I kind of heard this one was rushed. Because like there's nothing really to do in Onomichi specifically. It's just kind of like there for the plot, which is fine. But I mean, I guess I can just go to Kamurocho to do actual shit in it. They didn't really have a weapon system in this one either, like other ones. You couldn't just like collect weapons. You just had to like use them in the fighting areas that you were in every fight, which was kind of lame. The combat was kind of fluid and nice to play, but it was just kind of more on the uninteresting side because not a whole lot of like interesting skills you can use in each encounter. Being like the combat's just whatever. It's not like offensively bad like in 3, but it's just whatever. This isn't just like a lukewarm one overall, so probably put this one on the low B side, maybe high C on a bad day, but I think just low B side works fine. So I just finished Yakuza Like a Dragon not too long ago, and this one's definitely a favorite now. I think they pulled off the JRPG mechanics in a pretty good way. I mean, it definitely gets grinding at times because like that's every JRPG, especially towards the end. But I'm used to that. Every party member is pretty cool in their own way. Like, I really like Jun Gihan. Ichiban's really cool. I like Psycho a lot. Ari's hella cool too. And there's like a shit ton of stuff to do in Yokohama. Like, Yokohama's fucking giant. And there's a lot of super cool minigames in this one. Like the Dragon Cart and like the business sim that was also in Yakuza 0. That's kind of similar. You can even go to Sotenbori and Kamurocho, but I mean those aren't as big of a focus, and there's not a lot of stuff to do other than like grinding purposes in that one, which makes sense because like 90% of the game's plot takes place in Yokohama. And I hear they're gonna keep going with this gameplay for future games, which I'm not mad about. That's pretty cool. I mean, hopefully they just keep improving on it because there's a ton of shit to do, tons of shit to find, gear to collect. You can even do New Game Plus with as long as you like leveled up your characters to like a certain amount that they can do well in. So much shit to explore. So many jobs, which are the classes for each character. And like there's so many like cool quote unquote magic moves you can do, and like you can have like certain synergies with different characters depending on like how close your bond is with them. So there's just like it's full of shit to do. It's like really refreshing, and it's on the newest engine. Yeah, it's definitely up there with one of my favorites. So I'll give it an S tier. I'm still playing it right now. I'll probably do New Game Plus like soon once I level up my party a lot more. And it's a great game, so I'll give it S tier. And Yakuza 0, which brought Yakuza to the mainstream for a lot of people. I mean, me included, because I mean Yakuza 0 is where I started because I just saw it on sale on Steam. And I mean, I'd still definitely say it's one of the best Yakuza games. Like, some of the best collection of characters in the series, for sure. You can play as both Kiryu and Majima in them, which are both, you know, like, favorite characters. They all have their own styles, minigames, sub-stories. Like, Kiryu has the business management sim, and Majima has the cabaret club manager, which is also in Kiwami 2. Yeah, they're probably one of my favorites in the series. And the story-wise, it's definitely one of the better ones too. It's pretty long, and it like looks at the whole story through both Majima's and Kiryu's perspective. And I think it was like better because it was kind of allowed to start off with a clean slate, because it's supposed to be a prequel to the entire series, which I think works out pretty well. It's one of the longer games in the series too. I think it's probably the second longest one I've played. I think Yakuza 5 was the longest game out of the series that I played. There's just so much. It's so like filled with humor too, in comparison with the others. There's so many like wacky encounters you get into, and it's just like super hilarious. Mr. Shakedown's pretty funny too. Like that mechanic is cool. It's an easy way to grind money. You level up too, and you improve your skills with just money. So you just get up like a shitload of money, like near the end of the game, or even through the middle of the game. You're just like piling up millions and fucking billions of yen. So I think the whole game's great. I dig the whole game. So I'll give that one an S tier too. Yeah, that's about it. Feel free to let me know like where you'd put the Yakuza games. Tell me my taste is dog shit. Tell me I'm a fucking idiot for choosing this ranking. I don't know. Do whatever. Cause like I'm totally down to listen to like what your guys' favorites are. Cause I mean everybody's different. So those are my Yakuza rankings, my tier list. So I hope you enjoyed my perspective.